This bike weighs, in its current guise, about 16 kilos, pretty much bang on 16 kilos. Weight for me when I built it was never even in my considerations. I like a bike to take a bit of abuse. Most of the components, you know, that I would put on a bike, I'd say are fit and forget. You know, out with consumables, I like to know that I put something on a bike, I never really have to look at it again unless it physically wears out. The sort of things that we ride here, I know that lightweight rims are not going to stand up to the abuse. You know, like you go and when we ride at Pitfickie almost every week. So for me, it had to be an EX 511 rim. I'm pretty bad on wheels, or I was until I started using 511s. Not that I'm a particularly fast or hard rider, but I'm not very gracious and I'm not very light. So those two things together mean that heavy wheels definitely are your friend. I run a Exo Plus tyre on the back as well, so it's a little bit heavier than a standard Exo, but still slightly lighter than a double down. I find that on that new Exo Plus that there's meat in the right place. So this is like a winter tyre setup at the moment, so the Assegai on the back and the Shorty on the front. Obviously everywhere in the winter in Scotland can get fairly sloppy, so that's a combo that works for me. And yeah, as you say, you know, it's weight's really not something that I took into consideration when I built the bike. You know, you could maybe save a kilo building this bike with slightly lighter components, probably more. If I went for an air shock, for example, and the pikes instead, and then lighter tyres and lighter rims, would probably save 1.5 kilos. But I could quite easily lose 1.5 kilos before the bike weight came into consideration. And to be honest, you know, let's face it, I'm never going to be looking for those podium places in cross-country races on this bike. So yeah, the weight of the bike really doesn't bother me. And obviously this bike's been built for riding all the enduro sort of trails, if you want to pigeonhole it, but I mean, I can go and ride anything with it. But yeah, I mean, it's a large framed bike with 29-inch wheels. It's got 504mm reach, so it's physically quite a long bike, you know. Yeah, and then it's got pretty big wheels. But as I say, for me, building bikes, and when customers ask me the same things about, I mean, obviously nowadays there are so many different components that you can buy. So many different options, even when it comes to like bars, grips, whatever, you know. I'll always say that I think it's better to build a bike that you know is going to withstand quite a lot of abuse. Yeah, I mean, put something fairly heavy duty on it once, then you shouldn't ever have to look at it again. There are obviously going to be the odd occasions where you maybe break something, but I guess there's a couple of things on the bike that are kind of light, but even these Raceface 6C bars, they're carbon, they're only like 60 grams heavier than the alloy equivalent, so there's not much weight difference in it. That saddle has got titanium rails on it, and it's purely because I thought it'd be quite cool to have something titanium on my bike. That was literally the only reason. I was like, well, I'll have carbon bars because I want a bit of carbon, and I'll have titanium rails. That saddle's 40 grams lighter than the one with the non-titanium rails. So again, 40 grams, what's that? It's nothing at all. You know, it's a little bit of mud on your frame.